Okay, welcome back. Dr. Lindy here. Now we are going to be looking at the 11 systems. Okay, let's take a look at the 11 systems. This is also shown up on a Connect Lab quiz where you see everything in the black box and then you drag and drop the best term that goes with the picture. So all the way on the left, we are looking at the bones. The bones that we refer to as the skeletal system. And when we study the skeletal system, which will be, I think, next week, when we look at the skeletal system, we will study it looking at everything. Let me change the pen color here. I want to use blue. Let's use red. We will look at everything here in the center first. That's called the axial skeleton. And then we will focus on the appendages like the upper extremity and the lower extremity. And we call that the appendicular system. So we will break it down into an axial skeleton and an appendicular skeleton. There are 206 bones in the body, and uh, the skeletal system serves great importance to us. Um, Muscles will attach to them. They protect many parts of the body. If you look at the skull is protecting the brain. The ribs are protecting the heart and the lungs, and the pelvis is protecting the reproductive organs. The skeleton also acts as a reservoir to actually store minerals. So we're going to put calcium in there. We're going to put some potassium in there. And you can put some iron in there. It stores, it's like a bank, right? You want to keep certain nutrients and minerals in your blood and in your circulation. But if there's too much of it, let's put it in the bank, right? You don't want to be walking around with thousands of dollars in your pocket. You're going to put some of it in the bank. And as you need it, you can take it out. The body does the same thing with vitamins and minerals. It can store many minerals inside the bones. It can store many vitamins and minerals inside its organs as well. All right, when we look at the second picture here, we are looking at the neural system. So that's the neural system. And the neural system is divided into a brain and spinal cord. And the brain and spinal cord we call the CNS, which stands for the central neural system. Brain and spinal cord is the central neural system. And everything not circled, that's going to be the peripheral neural system, known as the PNS, the peripheral neural system. So all the nerves that come off of the spinal cord and nerves that come off of the brain, those cranial nerves, that would be referred to as the PNS. Okay, then we have the airways and we have the lungs. That's the respiratory system, where we have the exchange of taking in oxygen and pushing out carbon dioxide. The main reason why we're taking in oxygen is so that within the cell, there's the cell membrane and here's the nucleus, you're going to be learning about an organelle called the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, right? And the reason why it's the powerhouse of the cell is that it is responsible for creating ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate. And adenosine triphosphate is the energy currency of the human body. Okay, we consume protein, fat, and carbs only to be broken down in the presence of oxygen to oxidize those things to get ATP for fuel and energy to create function throughout the entire body. Okay. All right. So that's the respiratory tract. When we look at the fourth picture, now we're looking at the heart and all the blood vessels, the arteries and the veins, and that's part of the circulatory system. The circulatory system is taking the oxygen that we inhaled, right? We took in oxygen, and it's going to drive, the heart is going to pump that oxygen to all the cells and tissues of the body. And then when all the oxygen has been used, the blood has to find a way to get back to the heart It's deoxygenated, it has no oxygen. The right side of the heart will find a way to pump that blood into the lungs where it can take oxygen that we inhaled, bring it back to the left side of the heart, and the left side of the heart is now going to pump all that oxygenated blood back to the brain and back to the muscles and back to all the organs of the body. And then when it's out of oxygen and it's deoxygenated, we got to find a way to pump it back to the lungs, right? To pick up more oxygen, to drive it back to the heart, to pump it through all the systems once again. So the circulatory system is really important. A lot of the waste products can be eliminated through the urinary system. We have 2 kidneys, we have 2 ureters, we have a urinary bladder, and 1 urethra. And the urinary system has other functions. It is responsible for balancing and trying to create a harmony to the pH of the body. It excretes toxins from the body. It's responsible for producing vitamin D and erythropoietin, which is called EPO, erythropoietin. And erythropoietin, the kidneys produce, it sends that hormone to the bones and tells the bone marrow to push out more red blood cells, especially if your oxygen levels dip. Okay. What else do we have? We have a digestive system. Well, we consume proteins, carbs, and fats. The digestive system has to break those things down for the sole purpose of trying to provide energy. Lots of important organs here. We have the liver, we have the stomach, we have the small intestine, and then we have the large intestine. Right, so you should know some of the main parts of the GI tract. Sometimes it's called the GI tract, which stands for gastrointestinal tract. Gastro for stomach, intestinal for small and large intestines. Then we have the integumentary system. The integument is everything on the outside. It's your skin, it's your hair, it's your nails. It protects the inside of the body. The endocrine system, we have endocrine glands, like the thyroid gland is an endocrine gland, and the pituitary gland in the brain and the pineal gland. They produce hormones, and hormones are responsible for creating function in the human body. So both the endocrine system and the nervous system are responsible for controlling all the functions of the human body. The first system that develops is this one here. This is the very first system embryologically that develops, is the neural system. And from that, all other systems develop. Most people think, well, it's the heart that forms first, but it's not the heart. It's the neural system that gives life and function to the heart. So what's interesting is that it shows the kidneys here. And although the kidneys were part of the urinary system, they do produce hormones, erythropoietin and vitamin D. Those are hormones. Pretty neat. The pancreas, which is right here. The pancreas is part of the digestive tract because it helps us break down sugar, right? Because it produces insulin. It also produces enzymes for the digestive tract. So it is part of the digestive tract, but it's also part of the endocrine system. So we will cover that in a few weeks. We'll do another lecture solely on all of these glands and what they do and what their functions are. The muscular system, there's over 600 muscles in the body. An easy way to study them, or a more organized way, is we will study the axial muscles, and then we will focus on the appendages to look at the upper and lower extremity as well. Then we have the lymphatic system. The lymphatics, we have lymph vessels in the neck, in front of the ear, behind the ear, in the groin, in the armpit, around the breast, and it's really designed to clean and filter the interstitial fluid, the fluid between the cells, and it returns them back into circulation. So this has shown up on a Connect lab quiz. So what's the highlighted structure? Well, we're looking at the bones, we're looking at the skeleton. Well, is it the central skeleton? Well, Dr. Lindner never taught you anything about a central skeleton. I did talk about the central neural system. Did I talk about a peripheral skeleton? Never mentioned that. I talked about a peripheral neural system. So now we have two other distractors. We have an appendicular and an axial. The axial is what's highlighted blue. The appendicular is everything that's tan. All right, now we're looking at the highlighted muscles. Well, is it rectus abdominis? Rectus abdominis, those are these muscles here, so it can't be that. Is it the axial muscles? Well, axial, we said, is everything in the center. It can't be that. Is it the oblique muscles? Well, the oblique muscles are over here and over here. So we can rule that out. So what are we left with? By process elimination, the appendages, the appendicular muscles, the muscles of the upper and lower extremity. Okay, now we're looking at the neural system. Okay, and we're looking at specifically this portion here, which is the CNS. And the CNS is the control center. It controls all the functions of the human body. So, is it removing waste? No. Is it connecting to muscles? No. What connects to muscles are these, the peripheral neural system. Destroying foreign invaders? We're not talking about the immune system here, the lymphatic system. That is the control center. Houston control, the central neural system. Okay, now we're looking at the thyroid gland here. We're looking at the thymus here. We're looking at the kidneys here, the adrenal glands here. And then behind the thyroid on the posterior side are these four parathyroid glands. They're on the posterior surface of the thyroid. Posterior means the back side. So what's the blue structure? Well, it's not the adrenals. When you look at the word adrenal, you see the word renal. Renal is kidney. And add means you're adding something to it. It's not the liver. The liver would be over here. It's not even shown. That would be the liver. Can't be the kidneys. So we're left with the pancreas. All right, what are we looking at here? Is it the aorta? The aorta is just a blood vessel that comes off the heart. Is it the thymus? That's part of the lymphatic system and the endocrine system. Is it the trachea? How about the heart? Yeah, the heart is the highlighted blue structure there. Okay. Okay, what is this highlighted blue structure? Is it the throat? No. Is it the nasal cavity? Nasal cavity would just be here. What's this thing going right down into the back, right down into the right where that larynx is? That is the upper respiratory tract. And everything below that would be the lower respiratory tract. Highlighted structure. Is it the large intestine? No, large intestine would be this in red. That's the large intestine. Is it the stomach? Stomach is that right there. Can't be the stomach. Is it the liver? The liver is here. So what we're talking about is the small intestine. When you learn about the small intestine, there is three parts to it. There is the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. Three parts to it. 26 to 28 feet of small intestine. It's where most of your digestion takes place in the SI. Well, if this is the small intestine, then what's the blue? That would be the large intestine. Okay, now let me go back here for a second. So the small intestine and the large intestine and the stomach, right? All of this, these are primary digestive organs. Then we have these assisting organs. They're accessory organs. So the liver is an accessory organ. The gallbladder, which sits behind it, the gallbladder is an accessory organ. The salivary glands in the mouth, these are accessory organs to digestion. They're not the main movers and shakers in the game of digestion, but they're integral, they assist, okay? So here they're showing a little bit of the liver, and it looks like they're showing pancreas, and they're showing some salivary glands. So all of those structures, well, it's not just the liver, it's not the digestive tract, it's salivary glands and liver. So what would be the best answer? You can't pick two. It's going to be the accessory digestive organs. Okay, that's what they're pointing to here. Okay, good place to take a break, see if anyone has any questions.